And we are back with the fourth segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this fourth segment, we're going to be talking about D'Angelo Russell and his what seems to be rather unpopular opinions on Darvin Ham. And by unpopular, I mean negative feelings towards Darvin Ham, because at least that's what the article says. But before I do, check it out is in the chat. Where is Texas State going? I believe they got an offer to join the Mountain West, but there was no report, confirming that, or there's no reports saying that that's exactly where they're going, but they did get an offer there. So that's really all that I know about that. And there's no information on that ESPN revealed or that any other article has revealed as of late. But aside from that, let's go ahead and get into this segment, which is talking about D'Lo and his opinions and his comments about Darvin Ham. Now, I'm sure, as a lot of you guys know, Darvin Ham was a very polarizing coach. There are a lot of instances where Darvin Ham did a lot of questionable things, and there are a lot of instances where a lot of the players being under Darvin Ham and a lot of the fans that were watching Ham with his rotations, with his substitutions, with his coaching methods, all of that stuff was bad. It wasn't all that great, and Darvin Ham was extremely unpopular with his time as the coach for the Lakers, and according to this article, D'Lo took multiple shots at former Los Angeles Lakers coach Darvin Ham. This article was posted at 1:37 a.m. So, Jesus, this guy was writing early in the morning. And so the Lakers, they're coming off a challenging season. They finished 47-35, landing the 8th seed in the Western Conference. D'Lo's team's hopes for a championship were completely destroyed in the playoffs as they were swept 4-0 by the Denver Nuggets. And following the disappointing end, the Lakers made some significant changes. And actually, no, this article is wrong. This article is not true. The Lakers did not get swept by Denver in the first round of the previous season, actually. The Lakers ended up winning one game, and then they ended up losing in 4. So they lost the first 3, then they won the 4th game, and then they ended up losing in game 5. But the year before that, they did get swept by the Denver Nuggets. So just wanted to amend that for any of you guys that was confused. So following the disappointing end, the Lakers made significant changes. They ended up firing Darvin Ham, which was about time, and they replaced him with former NBA player JJ Redick, who had no prior coaching experience. So during Monday's Lakers Media Day, Russell didn't hold back in his criticism of their former coach, and he highlighted the differences between Ham and Redick, stating that there is now more structure under the new head coach. And D'Angelo Russell, at least according to Dan Woik from Dan Woik Sports, excuse me for that, Dan Woik Sports on X, formerly known as Twitter, he ended up tweeting out that D'Lo said the Lakers have been kind of winging it since his return to the organization, and he mentioned more structure being around this summer. So essentially, Darvin Ham was just putting a bunch of players together and saying, go win the game. That's what it seemed like. And honestly, that's really what it looked like. That's genuinely what it looked like with the rotations, because there are oh, my neck is so stiff. Okay, but there are some serious problems with Darvin Ham's rotation. He would put 2 players on the floor that couldn't shoot and couldn't provide spacing. And in a league where spacing is so important, it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing to yourself? It's just you're hurting the team. I must have slept on the wrong side of the bed. But Redick has brought in multiple coaches and staff members to focus on specific roles, something the star point guard felt was missing during Ham's tenure. In what seemed like another dig at Ham, Russell expressed his lack of trust in certain coaches last season, adding that the team also lacked a defensive structure. Kind of odd coming from D'Angelo Russell, who doesn't really play all that much defense, but I digress. So, D'Lo, apparently, according to this article, aims to earn defensive trust in upcoming Lakers campaign. And now D'Lo was kicked off his NBA career as a Laker after playing with 3 different teams. He was then traded back to the Lakers in 2022-2023, and he was fully committed to giving his best for the upcoming season, focusing on improvement and consistency. And during the Lakers media day, Russell shared his mindset going into the season. Quote, "For me, just keeping that maturity and that professionalism throughout the year. I don't know how you can..." God, my neck really hurts. Jesus. I don't know how being a professional is taking shots at the coach, but I digress. All power to you if that's what you want to do. And he's also said, quote, he's going to hold himself more accountable on the defensive end. "Obviously, I know I'm capable, but when you get subbed out of the game for offensive, defensive possession, that shows where your trust is with your coach and your ability." So for me, just trying to gain that trust with the coach defensively and consistently, I'm going to show up every day, practice game, preseason, whatever, knowing that coach has that trust in me as well, he added. Redick recently named the Lakers starting 5. You guys can go ahead and watch that video on the GSMC Basketball Podcast if you guys are interested. But it seems like those are all the shots that were taken at Darvin Ham. And, quite honestly, it's what we all knew. It's what we as fans sort of all knew because it's sort of what we saw on the court. It's like Darvin Ham just looked lost out there. And it was really, really bad. Like the way that he was coaching and the way that he was organizing the team. And I could even make the argument that it was almost like as bad as how Doc Rivers ends up coaching. And I know that's like that's a very polarizing opinion, and I don't mean any disrespect, but I mean, I don't really agree with Doc Rivers and his coaching methods because, I mean, there are several times where I feel like Doc Rivers should take a timeout, but he doesn't take a timeout, and he just lets the team that he's playing against continue to go on a run. This was a problem in the 2020 postseason, which was a big reason why he was fired. And he's constantly been getting fired from every single team that he's played on, or not that he's played on, but every single team that he's coached for. Like, it's really, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Doc. I'm really not a big fan of Doc. But aside from that, again, it's like this is stuff that was known with Darvin Ham. We already knew he struggled with his rotations. We already knew that it doesn't really seem like there was much structure on the Lakers. And I'm like, how on earth did this guy become a coach? Like, how? It's really, really confusing. But aside from that, but I digress. And what's really funny is that LeBron used to beat him so hard when he used to play against him. It's so funny. Like, honestly, LeBron should have been the coach for the Lakers that year. They probably would have gone farther. Who knows? But aside from that, that's all that I really have. I'm actually really looking forward to how JJ Redick is going to coach. Because who knows? Maybe he'll be an extremely pleasant surprise. And maybe this will sort of not only inspire other former players to be coaches, but also allow other teams to take risk on new coaches and new systems because who knows, maybe they could work. And like as Michael Jordan would say, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And if you're not taking shots and not trying to win by taking shots, then what are you doing? So that's sort of how I feel about JJ Redick and the situation around him being the coach because I'm rather optimistic because again, what he's proposing and the way that he seems to is approaching the game and the way that he's speaking about the game, it sounds like he genuinely knows what he's talking about. But of course, being a good player, being a decent player doesn't necessarily translate to being a decent coach. I mean, we saw that with Steve Nash and his time with the Brooklyn Nets, and that wasn't I don't know. You can make the argument that might have been partly the player's fault because Kyrie was a bit of a quack on the Brooklyn Nets, and you can make the argument that Kevin Durant and James Harden and all the drama and stuff that was going on ultimately affected that. But still, it's like you can't guarantee that a good player is going to be a good coach. And I'll leave it at that, and we'll see exactly what happens with JJ Redick in the next season. So now we're going to go ahead and shift the conversation back to the Golden State Warriors because Draymond Green, season hasn't even started, and there's already problems. So we are going to be right back after the short break, and we're going to talk about Draymond Green getting into it with a reporter, apparently, according to this article. So, and a lot of other sources. So I'll be right back after this short break.